What's up, gamers? In this video, I'm going to be talking about tips and a full guide on the new Duality dungeon. I'm going to be mentioning everything, including puzzles, jumping, how the dungeon works between encounters and including encounters, and maybe some recommendations on what you can use in each one. It has been only a day, so not everything's going to be refined and super detailed, but I'm trying to cover everything that I possibly know from my, 14 hours of gameplay with the dungeon, including solo stuff. So that's it. Here you go. Enjoy. If you do enjoy, a like and a sub would be appreciated. And if you have a question about anything I might have missed, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer. And for those wondering, yes, I will be doing solo flawless, and I will do a solo flawless guide. I'm just working on Hunter, which apparently somehow is by far the most annoying experience for a solo in this dungeon. That's weird. But that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy. So first up, we have the opening. Can we call this an encounter? I don't know. The opening section to the dungeon. This is basically going to be the part where the dungeon is going to teach you how the main mechanic of the dungeon works, which is basically bells or barrels, whatever you want to call them. I believe it's a Bell of Conquest for those that care. So what you need to do in this encounter is you need to stick with your fire team and then be ready to shoot a bell across the map, typically from you. So at the beginning, you're going to see a bell across you from the gate that you can't pass through. You just shoot this bell, and it teleports you to the Nightmare Realm, or as I like to call it, the Shadow Realm. And you need to go between realms, back and forth between regular and Nightmare. Let's say Throne World and Nightmare Realm, just to have a different saying. So you need to go to the Nightmare Realm, then walk forward, find the next bell, then make sure you're all near the bell, or the circle area, if you will. Because if you are not, and somebody presses the bell, you die in the Nightmare Realm instantly. No questions asked, you just die. So you must be near the bell. And unfortunately, as far as I know, this punishes you to the point where if somebody dies in a different spot where you teleported and they didn't, or you killed them, they will fall behind unless you wait for them. And then they won't be able to catch up until you're at the next encounter and you pull them with joining allies. If there is a way to catch up here, let me know. But I think if you fall behind, you're basically screwed because they'll be teleporting to a different area and out of a different area while you're trying to catch up. And it just becomes, well, no pun intended, a nightmare. So make sure you wait for your teammates until you shoot that next barrel and you're all together. And just coordinate when you're in the circle, 3, 2, 1, whatever, shoot, and you should be fine. So that's the beginning opening section. It's just quite literally learn where the bells are, follow the paths, shoot the next bell, get out of the Nightmare Realm, go to the next bell, shoot it, go in the Nightmare Realm, rinse, repeat until you're at the next encounter. Your next encounter will be the first boss fight. This will be the mini Galron boss from Crown of Sorrow, for those that are familiar with that. So it'll be a melee-based boss, and he basically just runs around either chasing you or hiding. So things like swords when you're in a fire team are very, very helpful. If you just pop a sword with a well or a bubble and go ham, it's actually not bad at all. In fact, you could probably one-phase it if you just coordinate your hits. Fallen Guillotine, Lament are pretty top tier. Lament will have no problem slicing through this guy. And let's just talk about the beginning of the encounter first. So here's how the encounter works. You're going to spawn in and you're going to have 4 points, as usual with Leviathan. You're going to have Axe to your close left, Dog to your close right, then Chalice top left, and then Sun top right. What you need to do is clear the bell bearers in this arena. There's 2 bells and 2 bell bearers to each side. Whichever side you need, go clear that side to open up the bell. By the way, you need to clear the bell bearers to open said bell. Otherwise, it just stays in forever, in case you didn't know already. So once you do that, you need to go into the Shadow Realm, if you will, and what's going to happen here is you're still going to have the same 4 points available to you, and the gates will be open. You need to go find a Scion in 2 out of the 4 of these gates. You can do 1 at a time, or you can do 2 at a time. That's up to you, if your team prefers that. You go into the gate, there will be some more beasts and a Scion. You need to kill the Scion, and once you do this, the Scion drops a flag on the ground. It'll say what symbol it is, Axe, Dog, Sun, Cup, or Chalice, whatever you want to call it. You pick up the flag, and then the idea is you either get 1 or 2, and then avoid the Galron boss because he's immune at this point. Open up your bell. You need to kill 2 more bell bearers that are opposite to you, wherever you teleported. Once you kill them, the bell becomes available to you, and you need to use this bell to get out of the Nightmare Realm. Keep note that you have only 1 minute to do anything in this realm, so you can't really take your time killing everything. I wouldn't recommend really killing all the snipers unless you want to designate one person to killing snipers and then the other two killing the scions. So once you get in there, make sure you kill the bell bearers as fast as possible. That should be your first priority. I would recommend sending one person to kill them, and then the other two heading out to one or two of the other flags and pick them up together. Then you coordinate, meet up at the bell, say 3, 2, 1, and then you peace out. What happens then is you get teleported back to the normal realm, or the throne world, whatever you want to call it, and based on the flags that you picked up, you need to coordinate to that garage door, or that's what I call it anyway. And what's going to happen is you dunk your flag, and ads will come out. There'll be some war beasts, and then a colossus in there. You need to clear them, and then once you do, what happens is you can, again, do one door or two doors at a time. You send at least one person in there, and they will be inside the room. And then what happens is you press the bell, and you get teleported inside, and the person that got inside through the garage, you're going to have a bunch of mini Galrons coming at you. They are yellow bars, but don't worry, they're very, very, very squishy, and you can kill them with basically any energy very quickly. Once you kill one, it'll drop the Nightmare Essence buff, which just gives you more damage to do during this time limit. Quick note about this buff, the Glaive Dreams artifact mod will actually extend your timer. When you pick up this buff, it'll double it, so instead of having 30 seconds or whatever, it'll double that. And this is really helpful because during the boss DPS phase, especially if you're solo, this basically gives you an extra 20 seconds of ability damage, which is actually quite a big buff to that. So if you're running something like Thunder Crash, Blade Barrage, Nova Bomb, this actually helps you a lot. But you need to remember to equip a glaive before you go to DPS for this. Alright, so back to the actual mechanics. Like I mentioned, you get teleported. There'll be a bunch of baby Galrons for you to kill. I believe there's 6 per room. So ideally, you want to kill 5 and maybe kill the last one by the exit door. But if he's not following you, just kill him and move on. Don't waste too much time. Once you do and you open the door, in front of you will be 2 more bell bearers. You want to kill them immediately. I personally prefer having a sniper on, so I can immediately snipe them before they do anything. You don't want to get close because they'll do their little blast, or God forbid, their jetpacks explode and you just instantly die. Once you kill the bell bearers, if you've had only one flag in there and you only sent one person in, then you need to teleport back out of the Nightmare Realm and restart the process to get into the second symbol's garage, and then repeat the process. If you had 2 people go in at the same time and you both cleared a side, then it'll be time for the damage phase. If you're doing 2 flags at a time, make sure you send 2 people in one and then 1 person in the other, so one person doesn't get stuck doing nothing. So if you send 2 people in, it's DPS. What's going to happen is you're going to have about 5 Legionnaires and the baby Galron in the center of the arena. He will be vulnerable for damage. You just need to basically wail on him, and this is where I meant Lament, a bubble, or a well is really good. You just pop it on him and go to town. You just have healing nonstop. Nothing really bothers you. But you could use anything really if you're in a 3-man. You know, Tether is really helpful. Blade Barrage, it does a lot of damage. Stuff like that. You could even use Galley, but I highly recommend just using swords because the Golron is close combat and he's just going to melee you. But if you have a well or a bubble or anything that really heals you, he can't kill you. You just wail on him way too much. You stun lock him with swords, etc., etc. And that's generally the entire cycle of the boss fight. You can easily one-phase this guy if you just optimize having, like, a well, bubble, plus high energy fire, or Font of Might, really any buff at all, and just start sorting him. And he is, I won't say he's squishy, but he is not very chunky at all, and pretty easy to kill if you just coordinate. Once you've killed the boss, you move on and go down the little tunnel, collect your loot, and move forward. This next section is very, very simple. Nothing crazy to talk about. It's just simply going forward, jumping to the next platform, etc., etc., pull a switch, and then get to the next checkpoint. Again, I want to emphasize that if somebody falls behind, there's really nothing you can do other than the person going forward if you're already far ahead and you can't turn back. And unfortunately, there is no, oh, I can wipe at the next checkpoint and pull you guys. It's more like get to the next full encounter / boss fight, and then your teammates get pulled. Otherwise, if you try to wipe during like the jumping section, you'll just wipe and get reverted back to where your teammates died at the beginning of the next checkpoint. So just keep that in mind. Once you do get to the statue room, this is where a little bit of cranium thinking comes into play. So how this works in the center room is you have 4 Golron statues, and they'll be pointing in a certain direction. Now, what you want to do is take note of how many directional pulls they are away from the center of the map. Keep note that it's counterclockwise where they will turn. This matters a lot because that's basically how it works. So you need to turn them counterclockwise towards the center of the map. So, for an example, if you're standing in the middle and a Goron statue is backwards to you, that means you need to turn that Goron statue 2 times to turn towards the center. If he's pointing to your right when you're looking at him, that means you need to pull it 3 times. If you're pointing to the left, you need to pull him 1 time. And you need to align all 4 of these Goron statues to be pointing towards the center of the map. So what's going to happen is, there's a button behind each of the statues inside the Shadow Realm. When you press the bell and you get teleported, you need to go behind each of these statues and pull the button, and each time you pull the button, they will rotate 1 side. So, as I mentioned, let's say, for example, the Goron was pointing to your right when you were looking at it. You're going to go behind that specific statue and press the button 3 times. This will make the guy rotate towards the center after 3 pulls, and then you need to go to the next statue, do the same, next statue, and next statue until you have all 4 aligned, pointing towards the middle. If the Goron was already pointing towards the middle, out of one of the 4, you just keep him that way, and you leave him alone. Don't press the button at all. Once you align them, just go back in the middle, press the bell, teleport back, bam, you're done. Now the floor under you will be opening up. Now before you leave, I want to mention there is a secret chest in this room. It's very easy to spot. One of the doors on the ledges will be open. Just look at one of the doors, whichever one is open, jump there, go inside the cracked door, and there will be a secret chest for you to get. Quick note, if you don't pick up your loot from your first encounter completion, this chest will give you nothing. So, you know, that's fun. And now let's move on. Next part is nothing crazy. It's just another jumping section. There's no puzzles really. You just need to, well, have hops because some of these are pretty big big jumps. So, you know, the usual lion rampant, stompies, triple jump, swords will help you a lot. Basically what you do is just you go forward, you see a switch, you press a switch, it opens up the coffins in the walls. I want to say those are coffins, and then you just jump on them and keep going to the next part. If you're trying to do a flawless run, make note that these stupid slides will kill you. So the best thing I would recommend for these slides is have a shatter dive ready, whether it's void or stasis. Have a sword ready and just sword block as you're going down the slide, or like a shoulder charge, anything that would stop your momentum. Also, you can jump while you're in the slide, and it'll stop your momentum a little bit and maybe not get you killed. But I still don't trust it, and I'd rather just use a sword block. Okay, moving on. So your next encounter is going to be the vault encounter. In this encounter, you basically need to use the symbol knowledge that you used previously already in the dungeon, and you combine it for 3 cycles to kill 3 different yellow bar bosses in the center of the room. So what happens is once you start the fight, you need to go ahead and kill ball bearers once again. There's 2 bells in the room, 1 up a staircase and then 1 in the flat surface. It doesn't matter which pair you kill. There will be 2 pairs total in this room. They'll both be under each bell. So what you got to do is just kill 1 pair, and that will open up one of the bells in the room, and use that to teleport out of the regular realm into the Shadow Realm. Now, before you press the bell and get teleport, you need to look in the center of the room. There will be 2 symbols that are lit. Again, it's Axe, Cup, Sun, Dog. Just make sure you know which 2 are lit up. And what happens is once you do get teleported, you'll be in the Shadow Realm again, and you will need to go ahead and send 2 people to these symbols. You can do 1 at a time, or you can do 2 at a time. It's up to you and a fire team. What we did personally is we had me stay in the middle and make sure the ball bearers are dead, because again, they block the bell. So they'll be under a staircase once again in this room. You need to find them, whether it's under the callus head or next to the staircase. Check both sides. They're always going to be there. So I was on bell bearer duty, and then we had Sweat and Clyde go to each section that we figured out from the center of the room. So let's say, for example, they went to Sun and Dog. They went, and this is, by the way, my directions personally. You can do whatever directions you want, or how you want to orientate the room. But what I did was I stood at the staircase where we spawn in, and then I looked at the callus head, and based on me looking at the callus head, I made up the callouts being Axe is close left, Dog is close right, Cup is top left by Callus's head, and then Sun is top right by Callus's head. You can do whatever directions you want personally, but that's what I did. So that's how I called out. You need to go top left, bottom left, etc., or both right, both left. Kind of like the Tanix callouts in Phase 1 of Deep Stone Crypt. So what would happen is they would go to their respective symbols. So let's say they went to Sun and Dog. They would need to kill all of the enemies there, plus the Colossus and the standard bearer that pops in after you kill everything and the Colossus. You kill the standard bearer, he'll drop a flag. You need to pick up this flag and immediately jet straight to the center of the arena. The other person that's doing the same thing needs to, well, do the same thing. You pick up the flag, and then you both head towards the center of the arena. Whether you want to meet up with your third person or not and them help you is up to you, or you just want to solo it. That's a player preference, basically. So once you get back, you just go to the bell once again. Again, I want to emphasize that the third person should have killed the bell bearers already, so you should have the bell already up, good to go. You head back to the middle, you press the bell, you get teleported back to the main realm arena, and now you need to either clear the room of ads first, and then dunk the flag, or if you have like a invis camo, just invis your fire team, make them both dunk their flags respectively. And what happens now is, guess what? The boss is not immune anymore. Haha! Yay! Predictable. Anyway, so at this point, there will be more ads spawning in. I believe there's 4 legionaries that drop in from each corner of the room. So personally, what I would recommend is you guys stand on top of the staircase, because it has a little bit of cover for you. Not a whole ton, but enough where you can actually breathe and reload your weapons, stuff like that. Legionaries will jump at you, yes, but there won't be 16 of them shooting you at the same time if you're trying to stand on the center of the arena. Once you've cleared most of the ads, then you can start the damage phase. The boss isn't anything crazy. He just shoots a standard slug. Each boss switches what they use, by the way, in case that isn't obvious. So I believe the first one is just like a Cabal slug, aka Acreus. The second one is just a Centurion or Incendior, and the third one is a boomer shooter with void damage. So all you got to do is basically kill the boss. You can take however long you want killing this boss. There's no time gate or anything. You just straight up kill the entire health bar, and then the arena will repeat the process. Bell bearers will spawn in if they were all dead. You need to kill the bell bearers again. That opens up a bell. Either fight the ads or have somebody, you know, camo out and go ring the bell for you. And then make sure someone has read the symbols before you get teleported. And then again, whatever 2 symbols you see, teleport, go get the 2 symbols once again, kill the bell bearers in the Shadow Realm under the staircase, and then rinse repeat this process until you've killed 3 bosses, and that's it. In this encounter, I personally think something like a well would be really helpful, because the boss is really mobile and there's a ton of enemies, and if you just try to sword him without having a well or a bubble, etc., you could easily get killed unless you're just using Lament and stun locking him and getting lucky. Galley's probably really good for this encounter. Aggers is nuts for ad clear as usual if you want to have somebody on ad clear duty. You might want to have somebody on Divinity if you're not, you know, going crackhead mode and hitting headshots with linears or Izzy without a div, and you just hit all your crits while the boss is moving. And that's pretty much it for this encounter. It's not anything too crazy once you get used to it. You just need to make sure you have, you know, supers or ad clear weapons ready when you get teleported to the Nightmare Realm each time, because again, you have 1 minute to do everything, and then you die if you don't get back in time. So, well, rockets, swords. You could also use Arbalist if you want. Up to you if you don't want to deal with, like, shields for the standard bearers. And that's it. So, clear the room 3 times, and then you're done and you're moving to the next encounter. Quick note, before you head into the main boss fight, I wasn't able to get this chest myself because I got teleported, but there is a secret chest right before you get to the, spoiler alert, Kaido boss fight. All you need to do is just get to the room where there's a gigantic rock in the middle. Maybe it's a diamond, I wasn't sure. And then the floor is all purple around you. What you basically got to do is go under that rock and then turn backwards, and there will be a small crack in the ground. You could just go into the crack, and there's a secret chest right there, and then you move on. Also, there's a stolen memory, whatever it was called, a memory fragment under that rock. So if you see the fragment, then you know you're in the right place. After that, you just move on to the final boss fight. Alright, so finally, we're at the Kaido boss fight. This is what I think is giving a lot of people trouble, because I see a lot of comments saying, you know, our damage is really bad, why is the boss, you know, immune, quote-unquote, stuff like that. So I'm going to try to explain this boss fight in as much detail as possible so people understand. It's easier to miss these details, by the way, so, like, don't think you're crazy or dumb for missing it, because it's very, very easy to not see what you're supposed to do. Footage. So the boss is over there, obviously, and you're at the spawn point here. This room works similar to how the Galron boss fight worked. There's 4 sections, so as you can see right here, there's Dog, there is Sun, Cup, an axe. You can coordinate whichever one you want. So for me, it will be dog is close left, cup is close right, then sun will be top left, and then axe will be top right. This works the same way in the Nightmare Realm when you get teleported, so keep that in mind. So what's going to happen is the boss fight will start. Ads will spawn basically everywhere. There will be bell bearers here, here, and here. They'll be guarding each of the bells. There's 3 total. You don't need to kill all 6 of them. You can if you want to just clear the room of all enemies. However, all you really need to do is clear 2 bell bearers on any side, and that'll open the bell for you, and then you can use that bell to just teleport into the realm immediately and not have to worry about the other 4. But if you want to just do it out of, you know, caution, then be my guest. So what happens is when you get teleported, you need to pay attention to each of these symbols. There's going to be 2 symbols on the floor by Keitel that'll be glowing. Same thing as the other encounters. They'll tell you where to go. So let's say before you get teleported to the left bell, for example, you have I guess the boss fight started to start. So there'll be symbols right here. Perfect. There you go. There's dog, and then there's cup. So you need to call out these symbols before you get teleported and just say, all right, I'm going to cup, I'm going to dog. You know, designate 2 people that'll be runners. Maybe designate your 3rd person to be a bell bearer clearer. And then that's pretty much it for that cycle. So I'm going to play actual gameplay footage on the screen now. So when you're in this realm, there are 4 bell bearers to kill to open up your bell for you to leave the arena. There are 4 scions in this arena. They're snipers, by the way. But you can only kill 2 of them. You need to kill the 2 that are the correct symbols that you called out in the main room. The reason for this is if you kill a wrong one, it actually takes away time on you being able to stay in the Nightmare Realm. I am not sure how much time you lose. I believe it's 15 or 20 seconds for every time you kill the incorrect standard bearer. So make sure you kill the correct scions and try to leave the other ones alone while you just clear bell bearers in the middle and then get the hell out of there. All you do is just kill the 2 correct scions. They will drop a flag. You pick up the flag. Then you head to middle. Make sure the bell bearer is dead. And then you meet up at the bell, whichever place it may be. There's only 2 spots that it could be. Make sure you call it out. Hey, I'm here. I'm on the bell. And then 3, 2, 1. Get the hell out of there. Once you teleport back into the main room, again, there will be a bunch of enemies for you to kill. A ton of scions. There could be some solar boys that go in the air. And then, of course, if you left the bell bearers up, there'll be those as well. So at this point, you're going to need your 2 teammates to dunk their flags into their respective spot. So you definitely want to be killing the ads here first. Make sure most of them are dead before you attempt this. Otherwise, you could very, very easily get killed, especially because when you get teleported back into the room, more enemies are spawning in. So my personal recommendation would be to just back up to the beginning of the room where the rally flag was and then start killing shielded guys, you know, one by one. Now, on the safe side, you could probably use Arbalist here to crack any shields that you see that you don't want to deal with. However, make sure, in my opinion, you have a linear fusion rifle as your heavy. I'll get into like DPS weapons in a little bit. I just wanted to mention that there. So once you've cleared those first 2 flags and you've dunked them in, then the same process will repeat. You're going to have 2 more symbols on the ground showing up for you. They could be the same symbols or brand new symbols. Just keep that in mind. And then once you figure out the 2 symbols, again, you need to kill 2 bell bearers to open up a particular bell, whichever direction you want to take. And then once your team is ready, you can just go ahead and go back in. Same thing will apply in the Nightmare Realm. You need to kill the 2 scions, get their flags, kill the 4 bell bearers in the arena. Then once you do that, go to the bell, count down 3, 2, 1, shoot the bell, get out of there, get back into the room. Same process repeats. There'll be enemies. Clear most of the enemies. Then you can dunk freely without getting killed, hopefully. Once you do that and you have 4 symbols dunked, the arena will say some nightmare awaits you, blah, 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 text on the bottom left. And then the chains in the arena will start glowing. These chains will be any of the 4. You can shoot any of them that you want. And then once you shoot the bell, it'll say, you know, the Bell of Conquest is primed. And basically this is saying it's DPS time. Once you shoot the chains, in a couple of seconds, Keitel will teleport herself to the Shadow Realm along with you. And at this point, you will have her and then 6 bell bearers in the arena, in the Nightmare Realm. What you need to do is spawn kill these guys literally as humanly fast as possible. You can do this either by having all 3 people spawn kill them, meaning you're going to stand on the left, somebody will stand in the middle, and one person will stand on the right. And then when you get teleported, you immediately just nuke them down instantly. Or what you can do is you just stand in the center, all 3 of you, and then all 3 of you kill the center bell bearers, and then you watch where Keitel is going. If she's going left, you go left and kill the left ones real quick. If she's going right, do the same thing. If she's going middle, well, you're already in middle. Now, this is the part where a lot of people get confused and have no idea what's going on. So the way this works is you have 3 bells in this damage phase. You need to make sure Keitel is getting somewhat close to any of these bells. Once she's in close distance, then you ring the bell, and what this does, it stuns her, and it gives you a buff. It'll say Waking Resonance on the bottom left of your screen. If you have Waking Resonance, you are doing damage. If you were not in the circle when the bell was rang, and you don't have Waking Resonance, do not waste your ammo at all. You will do pathetic damage. It is completely not worth it. You need to be in the circle when your teammates hit the bell, and Keitel needs to be close for her to get stunned. If you don't have her close and you shoot the bell, she won't get stunned, and basically you're just wasting time because she'll be moving around. Once she's close, pop the bell. It'll say Keitel is stunned, and you have Waking Resonance. Start wailing on her. Pop, your heavy, your supers, whatever you got into her. You'll have, I believe, 10 seconds with Waking 10 seconds with Waking Resonance to shoot her down with damage, and then after that, you'll have about 5 seconds to go around killing the other bell bearers in order to get ready to shoot the other 2 bells. Basically, what you do is you get to each bell before Keitel does. So you need to pay attention to her movement, and wherever she looks like she's going, you need to beat her to the punch, get to the bell, and ring that bell. Quick note I want to mention is she does stun in this arena, and you can actually use this to your advantage, because if you're falling behind or your teammates are trying to catch up to get to the next bell, you can actually just block her off for a little bit and make her force stop so she doesn't get there before your whole fire team does. So that's it. You essentially just beat her to the punch 3 times. Make sure you spawn kill the bell bearers as fast as possible. If you can't spawn kill them, kill the first set, go to the first bell, do DPS, and then spawn kill them in that 5-second window. Once the DPS is over after 3 bells, if you haven't killed her, you get teleported to the throne room again, and then you just repeat the process. Same thing applies. You kill bell bearers, you get 2 symbols, call out the symbols, use the bell, teleport, go inside the Nightmare Realm, don't kill the wrong Scions, get your flags, kill the bell bearers, get out, rinse, repeat until you get to the damage phase again, and then repeat the same thing you would do in the first damage phase and kill Keitel. Once again, I want to emphasize, make sure you have the Waking Resonance buff before you're damaging her and wasting your heavy. If you don't have the buff, you're basically wasting your time, and you might as well just go to the next bell and kill the bell bearers over there and just get ready. So damage-wise, there are a ton of options you can use for this. Honestly, there isn't a whole ton of like, oh, you must use this and nothing else. However, if you want recommendations from me personally, what I used for farming after our first run was Wither Horde, any weapon, and then Cataclysmic with bait and switch. I was hitting for like 123,000 per shot, and that's not even fully optimized. I believe we didn't even use div in this instance, so it could be even better. If you have bait and switch on a Cataclysmic, it is nuts. And then if you don't, you could always use any linear like Reeds, Threaded Needle. Hell, you could use the new linear from this dungeon. You have Galahorn, but you obviously need to have like some distance from Keitel if you're shooting her. It's basically a higher risk kind of thing. Galahorn's like a player preference. I personally wouldn't recommend. You could also use swords, but obviously you need to make sure you get the Waking Resonance buff before you use a sword. Lament, really good. Ball and Guillotine, really good. It's just you need to make sure you have the buff before leaving with your sword. And then for supers, Thunder Crash, Blade Barrage, etc. I do want to mention for Warlocks, you have the whole Fusion Grenade spam with Solar 3.0. It does a ton of damage, a metric F-ton. So make sure you're utilizing that. Or if you want to utilize Contrabus Holds, Nova Bomb, that's fine too. There's a ton of things you can do damage-wise. It's just player preference. I personally think linears will be the best overall. But if you don't want to aim, I guess, for the head every time, you have other options you can use. You can use fusion rifles. You can use double slugs. Hell, you can use Anarchy too while you're at it. As long as you have Waking Resonance, you'll be fine. Even if you're struggling for damage, as long as you have Resonance, I feel like people can get like a 3-phase done on this boss. That buff is all that matters in this boss fight. If you have the buff, you're good. If you don't waste your time, don't waste your ammo, go to the next bell. So that's it. I believe I covered everything that needs to be covered in each of these encounters. If I didn't, and you have a question, just leave a comment and I'll try to answer it. And I will be going solo flawless soon, so stay tuned for that guide. Or if you want to see me go bald while doing it on the hardest character, twitch.tv/SneakyBeaver. I'll see you there. Alright. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shameless plug. And catch you in the next video. Goodbye.